Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Well, I've really gone down the rabbit hole with the Madeleine McCann case. Of course, it's all come back into everyone's attention because of Julia, the girl, the Polish girl, who claims to be Madeleine, who has been arrested, hasn't she, for stalking, and she's been held in custody until her case comes up in April. And this sort of started me off looking again at all the old news about this case, which of course is this beautiful little girl, 3 years old, left alone with her two siblings, even younger than her, if you can believe it, while her mum and dad, two doctors, went off for a jolly up with their friends in an apartment complex in Praia da Luz in Portugal. Left them a long way away. They could not see if they were okay. They left the door open. It's just neglect, if nothing else, the McCanns are guilty of. Anyway, so of course this has been the longest run, the most famous missing person inquiry. I think it's famous all across the world. There's been all sorts of people have said they were Madeleine, or people have said they know what's happened to Madeleine. There's been suspect after suspect. And that is what I want to look at in this video. We're going to look at a news item from Sky News from quite a few years ago now, and where the police say they have a significant line of inquiry. What happened to that significant line of inquiry, I wonder? Anyway, let's have a look at the news item. Really surprised me, this. I'd never seen this before. There's probably a lot out there that I haven't seen before, that you haven't seen before about this case. And then you think, well, what happened to that then? So let's have a look. I've got to find it. There is it. Yeah, this news item on Sky News. All suspects ruled out, but police have a significant lead. So when was this? We'll find out in a minute. Anyway, let's watch the video first of all.
10 years on, Madeleine McCann's parents have been told police are no nearer solving the mystery of their daughter's disappearance. For a long time, Scotland Yard suspected Madeleine was abducted from the family's.
So 10 years later this is. And poor Madeleine, there she is. So it's 10 years ago, approximately 10 years ago. Martin Brunn, of course, who was his Sky News crime correspondent, he was right at the heart of it all. He's the person that doorstepped the McCann troll, Brenda, and that led to her unaliving herself. And of course, he's the big friend of Peter Falding and Mark Williams Thomas, who was also involved in this case. And there he is. So let's see what he's got to say.
Rented holiday apartment during a burglary. One of their suspects was Jose Carlos da Silva, a former driver at the holiday complex.
Who's this suspect? I don't even know about this person. This poor person. I suppose he was doorstopping him because you know what? They were trying their very best, weren't they, to cast shadow on anybody they could, as long as it wasn't the McCanns. So he knows they're filming him there. He's not very happy about it. I didn't know he was a suspect.
He and others were identified by their use of mobile phones, their location on the night, and their backgrounds. They've all since been ruled out. The theory, a burglary that went wrong.
If they've been ruled out, what is he doing there filming them? So he's been ruled out as a suspect and he's there badgering him and taking video of him. How dare he?
Somebody's doing a burglary, panicked maybe by a waking child,
And here we are, Mr. Mark Rowley. So he, of course, now is the commissioner. He was the assistant commissioner then. I suppose it was Cressida Dick, maybe, who was the actual commissioner for police of the Metropolitan Police at the time. But now Mark is the commissioner. So remember, this is 10 years ago, and listen to what he says.
That's sort of what leads to Madeleine going missing. So
most burglars would run out, wouldn't they?
In my experience, if you try to apply cold, rational logic of a normal person sat in their front room to what criminals do under pressure, you tend to make mistakes. So it was a sensible hypothesis. It's still not entirely ruled out.
Another suspect questioned and ruled out by British.
So notice he said it's still not entirely ruled out, but I think it has been ruled out, personally. But anyway, now they're going to talk about another suspect that was ruled out. So they're going to highlight another person who I didn't even know was a suspect, but they're highlighting him even though he's been ruled out. Are you allowed to do that?
British detectives was Russian-born computer specialist Sergei Malinka.
Oh, another foreigner, so Russian. So we've got the Portuguese guy, the Russian, the current suspect, of course, though he's got nothing to do with it seems, is Christian B. Another foreigner. Funny that, isn't it? All these foreigners.
He was first questioned in 2007. Scotland Yard was brought in 6 years ago after the failed first Portuguese investigation. It has spent more than £11 million of Home Office funds. The force is receiving...
Imagine that, £11 million. That's 10 years ago. God knows how much now. But they won't do a DNA test on Julia Wendell. What? No, let's just carry on spending £11 million, shall we?
New information each day.
Do you think you're any closer to solving this than you were 6 years ago when you started?
I think we have, well, I know we have a significant line of inquiry which is worth pursuing.
So I think we have, I know we have a significant line of inquiry. What happened to that significant line of inquiry? Never came to anything, did it? Or are they still following this significant line of inquiry? So this, it's like, you know, the good thing about the internet is it's always there, isn't it? So you can always look back at old news. Maybe they should start thinking about removing news. I don't know. Because when you look back, believe me, this is not I'm just going to release these sort of nuggets, if you like, in short videos. I found a lot of things that I didn't know at the time or since, gosh. This, I think, is very significant. You know, this guy who is now our police commissioner saying the police have a significant lead.
Pursuing, and because it's worth pursuing, it could provide an answer.
In his first British TV interview, a Portuguese...
Well, this significant lead that we supposedly had maybe 10 years ago, whenever this video was made, could result in an answer, according to him. That's the last we've heard of it.
His police chief said he was under no pressure to wind up his own renewed investigation.
If the Metropolitan Police decides to close their investigation, that doesn't mean that we are going to close our. Our two investigations are not dependent one of each other.
In a Facebook message, Kate McCann revealed how she was dreading the anniversary. She wrote, "We are bracing ourselves for the next couple of weeks. It's likely to be stressful and painful. We will go on, try our hardest, never give up, and make the best of the life we have. There will always be hope." The mystery of Madeleine McCann remains just that.
Now, just want to go back to that for a moment. So this is the apartment complex. I've stayed there. But the thing is that I want everyone, I say every time, this is where the pool is and where the tapas bar is. You go in this entrance. You cannot get to the apartments from that complex. The actual restaurant is further back here. You never see a photo of it actually, you know, how it is. This is the apartment, isn't it, where the Madeleine was in? But bear in mind that the tapas restaurant is right way back into the complex. And so to get to that apartment, you can't just cut through the back there like it looks like you can. You have to come out here through the exit. This is, I think, the only exit, or there might be another one further back, into the road, walk all the way up here, past it. You can't get in here either. This is all walled. There's like an alleyway up there, but you can't get into these apartments from that. There's no entrance to the apartments. To get to the apartments, you have to walk all the way up the pavement, all the way to the end of the road, turn round the corner.
Remains just.
Sorry, I pressed the start button.
McCann remains.
How annoying. Yeah, all the way up to the end of the road, round the corner, and then the entrance to those apartments is round there. You know, it's on that road, that other road. The entrance to the apartments is nowhere near the actual sort of that place where the pool is and the tapas bar. You have to come out of there and walk around. So it's not just like having dinner in your garden, as they described it. Unless you lived in Buckingham Palace or somewhere with a bloody massive garden, it's nothing like eating while your kids eating in the garden while your kids are in the apartment. You know, and the Portuguese and the Spanish were absolutely shocked that anyone would leave 3 small children like that under the age of 5 in a foreign country alone and go off and have a jolly up with their friends. So, yeah, just so people understand it, though this is always like, you always see photos of it like as if the apartments are attached to the complex. They are not, they're separate. When I went there, we got dropped off in our transfer vehicle, like taxi thing. We went in the doorway there. We signed the paperwork and everything inside. There's a reception there. And then he said, right, come on, we'll go. And I started walking in because I thought we were going to get to our apartments through there. Oh, the apartments we stayed in weren't as close as those. They were over the road. These are private apartments. The apartments do not belong to the beach club complex. They're separate. They're privately owned apartments. Jerry and Kate were staying in it. It was a friend of theirs' apartment, wasn't it? But it's nothing to do with the complex. It's so misleading the way it's always represented.
Madeleine McCann remains just that, a mystery. Martin Brunt, Sky News.
And of course, it still is a mystery, isn't it? So how come all suspects were ruled out, but this police officer said they had a significant suspect? So that's my question as far as this video is concerned. But I'll be back soon to talk about some other questions. Okay, so let's just have a look, actually, before I go. Just want to see again what Mr. Rowley said.
Sensible hypothesis. It's still not entirely ruled out.
Another suspect questioned and ruled out by British detectives was Russian-born computer specialist Sergei Malinka.
God,
he was first
all the
questioned in
foreign
2007.
suspects.
Scotland Yard was brought in 6 years ago after the failed first Portuguese investigation. It has spent more than £11 million of Home Office funds. The force is receiving new information each day.
Do you think you're any closer to solving this than you were 6 years ago when you started?
I think we have, well, I know we have a significant line of inquiry which is worth pursuing, and because it's worth pursuing, it could provide an answer.
There you go. So all those years ago, he said they had a significant line of inquiry that could end up with the case being resolved, and it never did. It's never been mentioned since. You know, what is this significant, or what was this significant line of inquiry? Okay, I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, as always, may your God go with you. Bye.